Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today and welcome to this educational presentation. Now, today I want to talk to you about advanced breakout trading. I would probably assume that almost everyone in class today has traded breakouts, myself included. Unfortunately, the results we get are not what's usually promised because breakout trading is actually very subjective. Let me show you what I mean here. Let's start out by talking about what a breakout definition usually is in the standard terms. A breakout refers to when the price of an asset moves above a resistance area. And conversely, a breakdown refers to when the price of an asset moves below a support area. So if you look here, you see the common denominators in this definition are support and resistance. This is usually what breakout methodologies are based upon. But do they really help us at all? Well, let's look at this example right here, all right, in Lulu. Someone looking at this will say, well, I'm a breakout trader, and I can see here that there's major resistance right here. So that means if I'm waiting for it to break out, I won't do anything until I see it close substantially above this resistance area, and then it most likely will take off. Okay, this is the way most breakout methodologies are. So let's say you were trading that way and you're excited, you'll see price going up to that resistance level, you're getting ready to purchase it, and then one day you wake up and you see that this happens, all right? So you say to yourself, well, there's no way I can buy it now. In fact, this is most likely where if I had bought around the resistance area, this is where I would be selling. So you have a couple of options to take. You can say, well, I'll just sit on the sidelines and wait for price to come back to this level. Maybe the resistance will now become the support, and I'll wait for it and then I'll buy it back here if it comes down. Or if you're a more aggressive trader, you'll say, well, since I think it's going to come down to this level, why not short it here, buy some puts or actually short the stock, and then that way I can make the money back. When it comes down, I'll purchase it and then go long. And then when it goes back up, I'll really make some more money. Okay, so let's say you did the latter, and then look what happens. You see, this is the difficulty and the problem with trading breakouts. Usually it's very subjective. One trader's resistance is another trader's support, and it's very difficult to have any type of consistency. Well, what if I would have told you that not using this conventional way of using breakouts, but in the new advanced way, you actually could have purchased here well before it took off, not using any means of support and resistance, but using what's really based on a breakout. And so this is what we're going to be talking about today, advanced breakout trading. Now, the good news is there's nothing you have to figure out. There's nothing you have to calculate. There's no support and resistance. There's no volume. There's no downtrending lines you have to worry about because everything is auto-generated on the PTS Primo charting platform. This is the educational platform that actually identifies in real time these true breakouts. So welcome once again. My name is Stephen Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading now for 47 years. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for a total of 16 years, and 9 of those years, I was a specialist. If you're not familiar with what a specialist is someone who makes markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. So if you wanted to purchase a particular stock, when I was a specialist, I used to make markets in stocks like IBM, Waste Management, US Air. So what you would do is you would, in the old days, actually, you would call your stockbroker. He would contact the floor broker. The floor broker would walk up to the specialist who made a market in those stocks and purchased or sell that with the specialist. So the specialist made a market in those particular issues. I did that, as I said, for 9 years on the floor. I traded, made markets through the crash of 1987 and the bull market that followed after that. So in my 47 years total of trading, my entire trading career, I've seen, trading systems, methodologies, techniques, and most of them are very inconsistent. So I've accumulated in my nearly 5 decades the ones that are consistent. And I teamed up with my sister site, Pro Trader Strategies, about 15 years ago. And we started Specialist Trading with one goal in mind, that was simply to educate traders. And so you'll see that educational process in today's webinar. Now, before we begin, we are required to share this with you. So please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using this advanced breakout method. But please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. Also, since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, another way to get education on a daily basis is to follow us on Twitter or X, whatever you'd like to call it. Every day I post upwards between 5 or 7 different postings of setups and signals that our methods have generated. I also post financial wisdom, ways in which to learn more about trading. So there's lots of great free education on a daily basis. Please feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now, as I often say, just about every week in my free webinars, like today, if you've come here, we have a good crowd today, but if you've come here thinking that I'm going to tell you what I think the market's going to do, or what I think interest rates are going to do, or what I think the Fed's going to do, or what I believe the best time frame is to trade, you've come to the wrong place. That's not what an educator does. Imagine you wanted to learn how to play golf, where an educator, a golf coach, a golf teacher would show you what to do. He'd work with you. But ultimately, when you want to play golf, he's not going to play for you. He's not going to tell you what to do for every hole. You're going to have to do that on your own. But for some reason with trading, we feel, well, I'll learn, but at the same time, I'll let this guy tell me what to buy and what to sell on a daily basis. Think of it. How many times do you go to a website, or do you go to a trading room or a chat room, or listen to the guys on TV, or wait for the earnings reports to come out, or wait for the Fed to make an announcement before you make a decision? Every time you do that, what you're doing is you're taking yourself out of the game and you're letting an outside source tell you how to trade. What we do at Specialist Trading is we teach you all the things that have high levels of consistency so that you can make your own decisions. In my 47 years, the only traders that are consistent are the ones that make their own decisions. So as you can see, my goal is not to force feed you signals, not to tell you what to buy or what to sell, not to tell you what I think the market's going to do. It's to teach you how to trade with the specialist edge, the same edge that was taught to me some 47 years ago by my mentors, and what has sustained me now for that amount of time. And hopefully it will be able to do the same for you. Now, before we begin, a few announcements. Please wait till the end to ask questions. We have a good crowd here today, so if we stop for every slide, we'll be here far too long on the Wednesday. So please, if you have a question, please wait till the end. I promise I'll answer the questions at the end. Also, just an announcement, this is being recorded, so if you have to leave early or you're having technical issues, oftentimes if you log off and then log back on again, it's your own internet connection. But if you're having issues seeing or hearing me clearly, don't worry. We will send each and every one of you a link to this recording, okay? So you can watch it at your own leisure. Okay, with that stated, let's begin today's educational presentation. Now, let's start off with a question. What if there was a breakout indicator designed to identify true, not subjective, not worn out conventional wisdom type of breakouts, but true breakout and breakdown areas? Well, I'm happy to report that there is. This is a fairly new tool we have here called the PSBI. It stands for the Primo Secret Breakout Indicator. Okay, so let's share with you some of the highlights of this particular tool. Firstly, it's based on the everyone out of the pool concept. You're not familiar with what that means. I talked about it in my book that I wrote, Secrets of a Stock Exchange Specialist. And most people think when something is breaking out to the upside, it means it's going through support or resistance or breaking down, vice versa. But really, it's based on the concept that stocks will break down when there are no more buyers, when the last buyer has bought, and a stock will break out to the upside when the last seller has sold. So when the buyers are out of the pool and when the sellers are out of the pool. Now, it's designed to identify these true breakouts based on this concept. Breakouts to the upside, breakdowns to the downside. Now, it's a proprietary indicator, meaning that it's based on this concept and proprietary tools and a concept and a formula, but we've taken the hard work out of it for you, so there's nothing you really have to do in terms of calculation. Trust me, you would be at the end of each night calculating hundreds and hundreds of stocks just to find out if they were setting up for a true breakout or breakdown. Now, you can apply this, the PSBI, to any market and any direction. Also, we didn't include there any time frame as well. Now, it can be used also as an exit or a stop and reverse, because we know a lot of students don't like to go short. And they say, Steve, I'm not that type of a trader. I just like to go long. Okay, well, let's say you're a long position based on maybe one of your trading methods or one of mine. You can use this as an exit. Or if you'd like, if you don't mind going short, you can use this as a stop and reverse. Say it's coming down or going up, you can stop, get out of the original trade you're in, and then reverse. There are lots of ways to use the PSBI correctly. And then lastly, with our platform, you have the ability to scan for nightly setups. So once again, if this was something that you had to calculate on your own, it would be really cumbersome, really take a lot of your time. With one click on our platform, you can scan and see where these setups are on a nightly basis. Okay, so let's go through the trading process and show you just how simple it is to trade with the PSBI. Let's look at that example on Lulu that we saw earlier today, okay? We would have missed that original breakout based on the conventional wisdom of support and resistance breakouts. But all we would have to do if we were thinking about this as a breakout at this point right here, click on the PSBI on our platform. When the drop-down menu appears, since we're interested in buying, we click on the buy area, and it will produce this green area. This is the breakout entry area. What you want to do is once price trades above that breakout entry area, that's where you would buy, and see how you would have gotten in much earlier, way before the traditional support and resistance method was applied. Now, I can work on the opposite scenario as well. Let's say we have support here, so-called support, and you say to yourself, well, I'll go short or I'll exit my position once it breaks through this so-called support. Okay, well, let's say you did that. You sold, you got out of your position, and you went short, and look what happened. Weeks later, it's higher than where you got out. Now you're losing money. Well, if you were thinking about selling, same thing, come up to the PSBI on our platform. This was in Moderna, by the way. Click it on, and in the drop-down menu, click on Sell Area. So you can see where the secret sell area is. And guess what? Instead of getting out right here in the so-called support, you would have exited well above. And so if you're long the position, you could have used this as an exit tool, or you could have done both, exited and then gone short and taken advantage of all this downward movement. So you see, it's very simple. The PSBI highlights these advanced breakout areas either to the upside or to the downside. Works on any market, any time frame. Extremely, extremely simple. So let's look at some recent PSBI examples and see how you could have initiated your breakouts or breakdowns within the last month or two. And remember, everything you're seeing today is displayed on the PTS Primo charting platform. This is the educational platform I designed and developed with proprietary strategies to make trading simple, and that identifies in real time these true breakout areas. Okay, so we're looking at AXP, American Express. Okay, now we see here that it's going down. So obviously, if it's going down, we're looking for a buy scenario, a breakout to the upside. On our platform, all you have to do is click it on, and you can see in the drop-down menu, you would choose the buy area. Now, a buy area may be displayed. It has to meet all the requirements of the calculation, but in this case, there was a buy area. Now remember, when price is in this secret buy area, it doesn't mean you just simply buy at the market anytime you want to. What it means is you have to wait for it to trade above this little area right here. We have the number right here. This would be the breakout area. It doesn't have to close above. All it needs to do is trade above this top right here. This is the breakout we're looking for. Okay, so let's look and see what happened. This was just a couple of weeks ago. Actually, it did break out. Okay, so you would have gone long right here. You could have exited the first day. Now, we have several different exit points we teach you about in the course, but it's up to you ultimately. Remember, we put the power in your hands for you to make the decision. And as you can see, in just about a week's time, you could have ultimately captured 18 points. See how simple that is? Here's another example. This one's an ABT. Now, obviously, it's in an uptrend. So you're not looking for a breakout to the upside. You're looking to see if it's topping out and possibly the last buyer has bought. And so you're looking for a breakdown. Click on the PSBI. In the drop-down menu, click on Sell Area to see if there is a sell area actually being generated. And yes, there was right here. So you want to sell. If you're long, you want to get out right here. Or if you're more aggressive, go short. And look what happened. On the very next bar, it traded there. Remember now, it does not need to close below. All it needs to do is trade at that level. Once it did, that was your setup to go short or to exit. This was your breakdown entry. And look what happened. The next day, it gapped down and continued to go lower, down 15 points coming into the last week or so of April, last month. Let's look at EXPO. Not really going down that much, but slowly drifting lower, okay? So obviously you're looking for a buy scenario, and there it is. there is the PSBI breakout entry point right there once it traded above. Now, in this case, it did close above. Now, here's what happens with a lot of our new students. I say, well, Steve, okay, I bought it, and nothing happened for the next 3 or 4 days. Okay, so what do I do? Well, if you're not stopped out, remember, we teach you stop placement in the course, and you haven't exited with a profit yet, you can always exit if you want to, but there's no reason why you should, because nothing has been triggered yet. And that would have been the correct thing to do, because look what happened just a little time later. It gapped up and the stock was up 25 points. So obviously some news or some event happened where this stock just gapped up. Isn't it funny how we knew a full week in advance that it was breaking out here? So this is the beauty of the PSBI. You can get in oftentimes well ahead of an announcement. Remember, that's what usually ruins a lot of breakout methodologies, because they're too late. Everyone knows that if it gets above this level, it's a breakout according to support and resistance. Well, we don't rely on those traditional methods for our breakout entry. It's based on a formula, a proprietary formula. All you need to know is if it trades above that green area block. Here's an example in FCFS, okay? Once again, it's headed higher. So obviously you're not looking for a breakout to the upside, you're looking for a breakdown. Let's see if a breakdown area was displayed, and yes, it was. Now, remember the last scenario, it took a little while, a week or so before it kicked in. Sometimes it'll do that, and oftentimes it'll happen on the very first time it trades below. Because look what happened on the very next day. It traded below that block. You could have sold right then, and 15 points in just one day. So where it took maybe a week or so to accumulate 25 points, in this scenario, it only took one day to make 15 points to the downside. Now, remember, if you're not the type of trader that likes to go short, wouldn't you have liked to use this as an exiting tool to get out of a long position? Works the same way. Here's an example in ROG, okay? It's heading lower. So let's look and see if there was a buy area displayed, a breakout area. Yes, there was right here. Okay, it's not based on breaking out above this high right here, where it's not based on any type of resistance. Okay, and look what happened the very next day. 16 points in just one day. How did we know that this thing was going to gap up? Well, we didn't. We just followed the tool because it's that sensitive, and it's not based on traditional ways of looking for a breakout. Now, if you were a forex trader, here's an example in the British pound, okay? The stock has been going up, or I should say the pair has been going up, and it starts to roll over. Now, last time it rolled over, it went down for a couple of days and then made new highs. So you're saying to yourself, is it going to do the same thing? Maybe this is going to go higher. So you apply the PSBI and you see that, well, actually, it's breaking down. In fact, it just did broke down. So you could have sold your long position if you're along the British pound, or gone short, sold the British pound. Either way, good position, because coming into the end of April, down 450 pips. Now that's almost $5,000 per unit. Potentially, you could have captured. Now, I know a lot of traders say, well, Steve, that's a little bit too rich for me to be trading, the daily British pound. There's too much risk involved, and I don't really like to trade it. I like to trade intraday. Okay, well, let's see what happened a little bit after the British pound fell out of bed. Because if we notice here, the last 3 days, the 22nd, 23rd, and such on, it went higher. So let's look at those 3 days on a smaller time frame. This is a 4-hour, 240-minute chart of the same pair, the British pound. Okay, so let's say you didn't want to muster up enough capital to be trading the overnight pair, so you wanted to just trade it on a 4-hour time frame. Well, look at applying the PSBI. There was a breakout on the 4-hour. You could have potentially captured 165 pips. So you see, it makes no difference what time frame, what market, which direction you're trading. Here's an example in PI. Okay, the stock is heading kind of sideways to lower. A PSBI breakout was generated right here. It traded above and then closed lower. This is where students have difficulty. They say, well, Steve, it didn't break out. It just kind of closed below that breakout block. That's okay. As long as you're not stopped out, it's still okay to be in the trade, because look what happened in the next week. The stock was up 35 points higher. You could have potentially captured that, okay? So That's the beauty of it. Sometimes it will happen on the very next day. Sometimes it'll take a week or so to kick in. As we look at Netflix, an expensive $600 stock here, it's going higher, but let's say you're lucky enough to be long this stock, okay? Well, that's where you want to use the PSBI as a tool to help you exit, because look what happened right here. This was in mid-April. We generated a breakdown entry. So if you don't want to short the stock, you could have said, well, I'm going to get out of this. And look what happened. It fell 65 points coming into mid to end of April. I think I'm not sure, but I haven't checked out the stock, but it may even be lower at this point. Okay. Now that's a $500, $600 stock. We know that not everyone can trade those high price stocks. So what if you want to trade an inexpensive stock? Well, the PSBI can be applied the same exact way. It absolutely makes no difference what amount the stock is. Here's a $5 stock, HMY, okay? Same exact rules apply. You wait for it to trade above. It traded above. It actually opened above. You could have bought there and then closed below. That's okay. Look what happened. In the next week, it went up 2.5 points. Now, remember, once again, someone would say, well, Steve, it's only 2.5 points. I can't really make a lot of money off that. Well, 2.5 points on a $5 stock, that's nearly 50% gain in just 2 weeks. The price of the stock rose 50%. What if Netflix, a $500, $600 stock, had risen nearly 50% in 2 weeks and you were long that? What if it rose 300 points in 2 weeks? It's all relative, okay? Now, a lot of people say, well, Steve, all of your methods, sure, I'm sure work okay, but what happens when news comes out? That throws everything out the window, right? Well, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everything works well with news, but it's been my experience that based on the concepts that we teach, oftentimes, I would say the majority of the time, just in my experience, our signals are in line prior to a news announcement coming out. For example, let's look at Boeing. Now, we've all heard about what's going on with Boeing recently, but prior to the recent negative news, coming into the beginning of the year, the end of last year, Boeing was going straight up, okay? This was from November to December. It was going straight up. And then just coming into January of the year, that's where it started to head lower. It rolled over. And then a news announcement came out here. This was in January 5th, I believe. We look at the announcement. Yeah, January 5th. Yahoo Finance reported that Boeing, or I should say that the FAA ordered airlines to ground some Boeing 737 MAX 9 jets after a mid-air incident. This was on January 5th, the very beginning of this year. An Alaska Airlines plane made an emergency landing at Portland, Oregon International Airport on Friday after losing a chunk of its body, terrifying most of the passengers. Now, the FAA on Saturday ordered U.S. airlines to stop using some Boeing 737 MAX 9 planes until they are inspected, okay? So that was on the 5th when the news came out, and we all see that it gapped down lower and more negative news throughout the year with Boeing, and the stock has really lost all those gains. All right. Now, most people would say, well, Steve, your news probably wouldn't have helped much. Well, let's see, because if we added the PSBI, click it on, we would have seen that prior to that news, a full week in advance, the PSBI generated a breakdown entry. So if you were long, you could have gotten out very near the top. And if you were more aggressive, you could have been short. Either way, you would have saved yourself 90 points or potentially captured 90 points in a short. This is how the PSBI can help you with news events. And I see this happening over and over again, because once again, when your method is based on market behavior and not news events, oftentimes you will be able to generate setups prior to that news event because the market is already signaling it internally. Okay, let's look at this example now in WIR. Now, conventional wisdom would tell you, well, Steve, I'm a breakout trader, and this is where the resistance is. Obviously, we can't get through here, so I'm not going to buy until we break out above, okay? All right, well, that's okay. If you want to trade that way, that's fine, but wouldn't you rather buy at these levels on the PSBI down here? Why would you have to wait and you don't know if it's going to gap up because everyone knows this is so-called resistance? Why wouldn't you rather buy here well in advance when the indicator had already signaled that all of the sellers were out of the pool? So you could have purchased this roughly about the $230 level and potentially made 65 points coming into mid to end of April. This was an example. These examples are happening all the time. This is what we discussed today and what we shared with you. This is true advanced breakout trading, and it makes it so simple using the PSBI. So let's review what we shared with you today and taught you. Remember, the PSBI is based on the everyone out of the pool concept. When all the sellers are out of the pool, that's when the stock can truly break out to the upside. When all of the buyers are out of the pool, that's when the stock or any market can truly break out to the downside. It's designed to identify these true breakout areas by displaying either green for a breakout area or a red block for a breakdown area. And it's based on a proprietary indicator, but trust me, you don't want to have to figure out how to use this because it's too difficult and too cumbersome. We take all of the hard work out of it for you. As you just saw, you can apply it to any market, any direction, and any time frame. If you don't like to use it as a shorting tool, you can use it as an exiting tool or stop and reverse. You can use it to go long, and then once it generates a breakdown, you get out of your long and you go short. It's up to you. The best thing is you have the ability on our platform to scan for nightly setups in a host of different markets. Now, we provide you with all these different market lists from anywhere from crypto to currency pairs to ETFs, NASDAQ, S&P. It's up to you. You can actually even make your own list, basket of stocks and scan for them on a nightly basis. So ask yourself, do you think the new PSBI can help your trading for the remainder of 2024? Okay, we're already in the first third of the year. We only got three more, or I should say two more left of the third. It's about time you turn your trading around. So we have a great attendee special for all of you coming and watching me today speak about the PSBI. We're going to introduce this PSBI, our Primo Secret Breakout Indicator, and give you a great discount. Remember, this is a non-conventional breakout tool. It generates a lot of setups that you can apply to breakouts and breakdowns in any market and in any time frame. Also, you can use it as a stop loss method. A number of our students apply their own strategy, but they use the PSBI as a stop loss method, okay? But let's include something else, because everything you saw today was generated using the PTS Primo charting platform. With one click, you can see if there's a breakout scenario taking place or a breakdown. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw in an extra bonus. All of you deciding to become students of mine in the PSBI, we're going to throw in a full year free of the platform. That's a nearly $2,000 savings. You're going to get a full year free, so you can just automatically click on and scan for these setups. But that comes with a host of many more advantages. You're not going to just get the PSBI. There are so many tools, techniques, and methods that I've accumulated in my nearly 5 decades of trading that are on the platform that you'll also get, that you won't find on any other platform, any other major platform, because these are things that I've taken mostly from my days on the trading floor. So as you see here, you're not only going to get the PSBI, you get the scanner, but you get our enhanced buy sell line, a strength of trend tool that tells you the strength of the trend you're looking at, auto-generated signals. But here's the best thing. Excuse me. Didn't talk about it at all today. This is the PSBI price projection. What we've done here with the platform and with the algorithm is that we've projected where price will most likely go. Now, it doesn't guarantee that it's going there, but there's a very high probability. Now, a lot of our students like to use this as an exit tool. Okay, you can use it as that, or you can just say, well, if it's projected that it's only going to go so high or so low, maybe I'll pass on the trade. But if there's a projection that it's really going to move, well, maybe I will take the trade. So it's a great educational tool to help you. Let me share with you how it looks. Okay, here was an example in Apple. This happened earlier in the month, last month, just about 3 weeks ago. A PSBI buy area was generated, so we know we're going to go long if it trades above there. But let's see where the price projection is, so we can find out where that is even prior to entering the trade to help us make our decision. So once again, on the platform, click on PSBI. In the drop-down menu, we already clicked on buy, or I should say, here's the buy price projection. We clicked on the buy area, but now we click on buy price projection, PP, and as we can see, it tells you exactly through the algorithm where it thinks price is going to go. Now, if you think, well, that's not enough, then you can pass on the trade. Or if you think, hey, that's not bad, I'll take a quick option trade or maybe buy the stock. It's entirely up to you. And once price broke out, guess what? It went there in 2 days. And look what happened after that. Price quickly fell down. This is the beauty of using these price projections. It can work to the downside as well. Here's an example in MS, Morgan Stanley. This was just about 3 weeks ago. In the mid to the beginning of April, we had our sell block here. We know we're going to sell or go short at this point. But let's see how far down it can go according to the algorithm. Click on the PSBI tab. In the drop-down menu, click on Sell PP, which is Sell Price Projection. And it's thinking it can go well down here. So we say to ourselves, okay, that looks pretty good. Maybe I'll short the stock or maybe I'll exit, whatever we want to do. And guess what? You could have gotten out or gotten short right here. And look what happened. Went right to the price projection and quickly turned around and went right back up. Here's another example. DDOG, okay. Here was the sell area. Click on PSBI. Sell price projection right here. Click that on, and it's telling you it should come down to this area, roughly about 9 or 10 points. It broke down, went there in 3 days, and look what happens, making new highs right after that. And lastly, here's an example in KLAC. A buy area was generated. Click on PSBI. Click on buy price projection, PP. Wow, this is going to go up a lot. So we say to ourselves, okay, I'll take that trade. You could have entered right here. And in the next week, we got right up to that price projection. And then look what happened after that. Now, here's the best thing about this. You will only find the PSBI price projections on the PTS Primo Charting platform. So once again, should you decide to become a student of mine in the course, you will also get that full year free of the platform along with the PSBI price projections. With one click, you'll be able to see where these price projections are. Okay, so let's break this down. You see how advantageous this can be to your trading, how powerful it can help you get your trading back on track. So let's break it down. What's our offer for you? Well, the new PSBI regularly costs $49.95. What we're going to do is discount that down 10%, down to $44.95. You're going to save $500. But we still understand that a lot of people would say, well, I understand there's a 10% discount, but that's still a little bit too rich for me. I can't afford a one-time fee of $44.95. So for those who cannot afford that, guess what? For a limited time, ProTrader Strategy says they will have payment plans. So what you can do is for a fraction of that $44.95 price, and by fraction, I really mean a fraction of that price, nowhere near that price, you can establish a one-time payment, down payment, and then establish a payment plan, a monthly plan, so that you can be up and running as early as today. This is the best way I know to get involved with our courses and to really turn your trading around. Now, either way you decide to go, to take that 10% discount and pay the $44.95 in full, or to establish a payment plan for a one-time down payment, a fraction of that cost, and just establish a monthly payment plan. Either way, you will still be eligible for 12 months free platform. So it doesn't matter which road you decide to go, okay? This is a great, great offer. It's a great way to get this very powerful tool and start trading with it, like I said, as early as today. Trust me, a year from today, you will have wished you became a member of the PSBI course. This is what our students are telling us. It's one of our favorite, most popular courses because, first of all, of its simplicity and its ease of use on our platform, and also the ability to use the price projections as well as the scanning techniques. So take advantage of this great offer, okay? Here's how to do that. Contact my sister site, ProTrader Strategies. They are in charge of all of the pricing, all of the discounts, as well as setting up of payment plans, and as well as setting you up with the platform and the tech support. You can email them at the address above there. I would highly recommend giving them a call at 310-598-6677. 6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. They would be more than happy just to give you a quote. There's absolutely no obligation. They can give you a quote over the phone and you can think about it. If you'd like to just go to the info page, that link you see at the very bottom is the info page as well as sign up page. You can copy and paste that, but if you go to the chat box, you open up the chat icon on the Zoom interface there, you'll see that they've posted a live link. So you don't have to copy and paste that if you don't want to. You can click on that live link. But remember, Pro Trader Strategy is there to work with you. There's no obligation. They can answer any question that you may have regarding price or the platform or the course itself. Now, anything regarding what I went over today, please, now's the time to ask me a question. I promise I will reserve the last portion to take any questions. Simply go to the chat box or the question and answer, and I will answer them right now. Someone's asking me, can this work on futures as well? Yes, you can. You can apply to any market, any time frame. Let's say you want to intraday trade the futures. If the market is coming straight down and it looks like it's going to bottom out on a 5-minute time frame or possibly an hour time frame, makes no difference. You can look for that breakout scenario and apply the PSBI. Yes, it makes no difference. It can work on currency pairs. We even have students that are applying it with crypto. So it's entirely up to you what market, and you can scan for these markets as well. Someone's asking, can you scan intraday? Yes, you can scan intraday for these markets, so you can choose your time frame and see if a breakout or breakdown block is being generated on the intraday time frame. Okay. Someone's asking me, how do I establish a payment plan? Well, the best thing to do is, like I said, contact Pro Trader Strategies. They're in charge of all the payment plans, and they can give you the quote. If you give them a call right now, they can give you a quote and tell you how much you have to come down. And I've seen, I won't, because I'm not in charge of the pricing or the costs and stuff. So I won't give you a quote right now, but I've seen some phenomenally low payments where all you have to do is put a very small payment down, and then the payment plan after that is really simple. So it's entirely easy to do, but you do have to contact Pro Trader Strategies. They're in charge of that. Okay. How do I contact you if I'm having trouble? Each and every one of my students has my personal email address. It doesn't go to an assistant. It doesn't go to an intern. It comes directly to me. So if you have a question or you're not exactly sure how to implement the PSBI, don't worry. All you have to do is email me, and I will get to you as soon as possible. Okay. So it's lots of ways to keep on track. And remember, we're there with you every step of the way. Okay. Any more questions? Remember, the easiest thing to do is just give Pro Trader Strategies a call. Don't feel as if there's any obligation. Like I said, they're there to work with you. They can give you a quote and you can sit and think about it. But remember, this offer is for a limited time only. So don't think that it'll be here a month or two from now. So think about it. If you contact them, if they give you a payment a schedule, and then you can decide for yourself. Okay, but this is a great way to get involved with the PSBI, because after this limited time offer, it'll go back to the roughly about $5,000 price, and that won't include a full year of the platform. So that's an extra $2,000 roughly. So you're going to be looking closer to $6,500 to $2,000 as opposed to maybe a small payment plan and then just getting up and running as early as today. Okay. Someone's saying, if a candle opens above the green PSBI box but never touches the green box, does that indicate a breakout, or is it too late to get in? No, that does indicate a breakout, because remember, the breakout means that anytime it trades above that green box or below that red box. But remember, the decision is up to you. Let's say the breakout is at 50 and the next day it opens at 60. Well, there's no saying whether the stock is going to stop going up or whether it's going to go up even higher. That's why the PSBI price projections are so helpful, because if a stock opens at the price projection or near it, well, then you may say to yourself, well, maybe that's all it's going, so maybe I won't buy it. If a price projection is at 70 and it opens, let's say, at 55, well, maybe you say, well, maybe I will take this trade. Remember, in the end, it's up to you to decide. But yes, the rules state that anytime it trades above that green box or trades below that red box, that is your setup to enter into the trade. Okay. I hope that answers your question. Any more while you still got me here? Remember, this offer is for a limited time only. So watch this video. You'll all get a link to this recording. But watch this video and then decide. But please do not sit on it, because remember, once again, if you wait a month or two, that price will be closer to $6,500 or $7,000. whereas you can get it for a fraction of that $44.95 price right now if you really want to get involved, okay? Okay, well, if there are no more questions, this brings us to the end. Remember to contact Pro Trader Strategies. That link is in the chat box. You can click it on and you can contact them at 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now waiting for your call, okay? As we take one last look at our disclaimer, thank you so much for taking time out of your Wednesday to join me today. I hope you learned how we feel about what the real concept is behind true breakouts and true breakdowns. But most especially, I look forward to seeing all of you in the PSBI course. Thank you so much for attending. I'll see you in class. Bye-bye.